All right, so I've had a few questions about how to graph this data because the numbers are pretty different from what we may have graphed previously. And so I wanted to go through that. I'm making a video on my phone. It's not going to be as cool as those videos where people are cooking and you only see their hands, but I do have to hold my phone with one hand and then work with the other, so we'll see how this goes. But you can kind of see this is where I work during the day while a little bit is napping, and so there's just a preview of my life there. But anyways, I'm on this program. I'm doing mass and force, and so some of you will be doing that and others are doing distance and force. But whatever you're doing, you have your independent variable, the one that you're changing. So I'm changing my mass here. I'm only changing one of them because you can't change two variables, of course. And then I'm looking at the force. So I've already done this. So here's my data. I have 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, and 300. So you can see I chose numbers in steady increments for my independent. That makes it really easy to graph. That's not a requirement, of course, but that does make it a bit easier. And then I have my force over here. And I don't have my units on that, but that's in newtons. So then you see these numbers are just so different from what we're used to graphing. Like, how do I graph 10 to the negative 7th and 10 to the negative 8 and include the differentiation between these numbers? So I'm going to show you two ways to do that. The first way is by hand, and it's very simple. What you need to do is you need to make all of these exponents the same. Okay, so how do we do that? I would recommend whichever one is the smallest, okay? Not absolute value, but actually the smallest. So negative 8 is smaller than negative 7. I'm going to make all my exponents negative 8. In order to change the exponent on scientific notation, you move the decimal. Okay? If you want the decimal to go down, you want this to become negative 8, if you want the exponent to go down, we want all these to be negative 8, you move the decimal to the right. So that's going to become 12.5, 16.6, 20.8, 25.6 times 10 to the negative 8. Okay, so now all my exponents are the same. Okay, since they're the same, I can graph that in this way. Okay, so here's my graph. I'm going to put my independent down here, mass. Okay, that is in kilograms. Okay, I'm not going to go through that. We chose 50, 100, those would be very simple. Then up here, I've got my force in newtons. And notice all my forces are times 10 to the 8th. So on the y-axis, I can put times 10 to the negative 8. Okay, that's going to tell the reader that every number on here is times 10 to the negative 8. So now when I graph, I can ignore the scientific notation actually, and I can just look at my numbers. So I've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 25. Now those are long decimals, but I can round them off in thinking about graphing. Okay, so I'm thinking 4.2, 8.4, 12.6, 16.7. See how I'm just rounding those off? That's going to make my graphing a lot easier. So my smallest number is a 4 and my largest number is a 25. So I would probably count by maybe 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26 up here. And that will get me to my highest value, which is 25. Then I can just graph those values, okay? And then I can look at the shape of the line and determine what the relationship is there. If it's a direct, an inverse, a squared value, etc. Okay? So, to graph numbers like these, make all your exponents the same. To make the exponent go down, move the decimal to the right. If you want the exponent to go up, move the decimal to the left. Okay, I'll write that right here. Exponent up, move the decimal to the, what did I say? To the left. If you want the exponent to go down, move the decimal to the right. Okay? All right. So that's one way. The other way is you can use Excel on your computer. So I'm going to type in, I've got mass values and force values. just open Excel, type in those in. So I've got 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. Sorry if it's making me do the 300. Okay, there's my mass values. Don't put units on them when you type them in Excel because it'll get confused with the numbers and the letters in there. And then for these, I've got 4.17, and Excel understands that capital E. So capital E, no space, -8. Okay, I'm going to type in the numbers just as they were, not after I moved the decimal, but before, just the numbers that I got off the computer. So I'm going to pause this and type those in.